The door clicked softly behind me. Charleston's sticky dusk clung to my skin as I stepped into the cool, dim house. A faint scent of thyme and garlic floated from the kitchen. I had prepped dinner before my flight, pasta primavera. It still sat in the pot untouched. Marlin was on the couch, thumb scrolling with lazy detachment, half watching some startup pitch on YouTube. He looked up briefly. "Hey, welcome back," he mumbled. "Long flight," I replied. He nodded, eyes already back on his screen. Not once did he ask how the meeting went. I went upstairs to change, unzipped my suitcase mechanically and paused. His voice drifted from the office across the hall. Low, laughing, the cadence of camaraderie. "I mean, she's sweet. But let's be real. You could do better, man." Laughter. "Then Marlin, you're not wrong." I stood frozen, fingers curled around the doorframe. There it was, confirmation. Not whispered, not behind closed doors. Just casual truth spoken aloud, like discussing the weather. He thought he could do better. I didn't gasp. I didn't cry. I walked silently to the bathroom and washed my hands with lavender soap. That wasn't the first time I realized. Years ago, when I was starting out, he told me I was too humble to land the big contracts. That I lacked the killer instinct. I had believed him. But humility wasn't my flaw. It was his cover story. I sat on the edge of the bathtub, staring at my reflection in the dim light. I wasn't crying. I wasn't broken. I was storing everything. Word by word. Call by call. Smile by smirk. They mistook my silence for surrender. It wasn't. It was strategy. The envelope came in the morning mail, tucked between a coupon flyer and a donation request. I recognized the letterhead, the Vale Family Trust. I peeled it open with my nail. It was brief, a revision of inheritance distribution. My name was not listed. No, Serena Vale. My fingers didn't tremble. I just read it again, slower. 10 years ago, Ronald had promised. Even if you don't follow the same path as your siblings, you'll be taken care of. Your family. I remembered nodding, naive and trusting at the kitchen table. Apparently that promise expired. I pulled out my laptop, opened my email. Celine's signature glared from the attached document. She'd authored a clause. Direct heirs shall be defined as those actively contributing to the family financial growth. A clever phrase, sterile, bloodless. Inactive financial dependents were excluded. So that's how they saw me. Not as a builder, a strategist, a founder. As a dependent. I stared at the clause for a long time, then whispered out loud, just to myself. Being underestimated is only a problem if I let it define me. I didn't plan revenge. I planned reminders. Elias chose a quiet cafe near the marina. It used to be our spot back when I was his mentee, and he still believed in the audacity of young women in finance. He stirred his tea, eyes averted. They called the board. "I couldn't shield you." I smiled thinly. I figured. "I'm sorry." "I know." We didn't need more words. Later, at home, I walked past the dining table. Dust coated the surface. We hadn't eaten there in months. Meals now were microwaved in silence, taken to opposite corners of the house. I opened a drawer and found an old voicemail saved on a USB. Elias's voice. "Serena, you see through noise. You're 10 steps ahead. Never let that get diluted." I renamed the file. Still capable. Then came the online murmurings. Charleston Reddit. Niche Facebook groups. Whisper threads. Serena Vale's broke? Thought she ran her husband's credit dry. Typical housewife finance fail. The screenshots rolled in. People I knew, some I'd helped. I didn't reply. I archived them. Proof has no need to shout. In the guest room, I opened my old Dropbox account. Marlin had claimed the master bedroom months ago under the excuse of late work calls. The files loaded slowly, each one a breadcrumb back to the truth. Receipts from my first business license filing. Spreadsheets from the early days of the financial coaching app. Email chains with developers. The app now bore Marlin's company name, but its spine, its core was mine. I printed the documents, sorted them into a sleek black folder. On the bathroom mirror, I placed a small yellow sticky note. If not now, when? I paused. Flashback. Signing my first $50,000 loan in a credit union office with worn-out carpet. Marlin was in Cabo at the time, drinking champagne to manifest abundance. He never asked how I got the funding. He never asked anything. Downstairs, the front door creaked. He came in, talking on Bluetooth, laughing with someone named Craig about crypto losses and girls who don't get it. I didn't flinch. I slipped the folder into my briefcase and zipped it shut. Then I wrote in my journal, "This isn't a battle. This is a broadcast. And the truth has its own microphone." That night I didn't sleep, but I didn't pace either. I sat upright, watching the skyline flicker through the blinds, rehearsing my silence like a speech. The next move wouldn't be loud. It would be undeniable. I didn't raise my voice. I raised my evidence. The air was heavy with jasmine and late summer heat. Downtown Charleston glowed gold as the sun dipped behind the skyline. The rooftop venue I'd reserved shimmered with soft candlelight and curated chaos. It was Marlin's 37th birthday, and I had sent out invitations that pretended to be celebration. But every detail reeked of strategy. Marlin, of course, assumed this was an apology tour, a make-up moment. He had smiled when the RSVP hit his inbox titled, "An Evening for Marlin." He didn't question the guest list, his inner circle, his colleagues, his mentors, his ever-skeptical parents. I placed Ada McKinnon, my attorney, just to his left, introduced as a family friend and advisor. The seating chart was deliberate. Marlin, center stage, surrounded by Celine, Marcus, and Ronald. I sat across, hands folded, an empty wine glass my only prop. He thought it was a celebration. I built it as a courtroom. After the appetizers, I stood and tapped my glass. "Tonight," I began, "I'm not serving cake. I'm serving clarity." Slide 1 dropped onto the screen behind me, gossip screenshots. Facebook whispers, Reddit threads, cruel DMs. The room stiffened. Slide 2, bank statements. Proof of my $75,000 seed deposit into Marlin's Luxury Lifestyle LLC. The timestamp predated his first pitch deck. Slide 3, trust contracts. My name inked as primary shareholder in the very fund Marlin bragged about on podcasts. Slide 4, audio from Dr. Elias Turner, thanking me by name for financing Marcus's failed app 5 years ago. She believed in potential when no one else would. The room pulsed. Celine twisted her napkin like a lifeline. Ronald's eyes darted from the screen to Marlin. Marlene stared at the tablecloth. I stood still. Marlin lunged to his feet. Enough. He scrolled through his phone, pulled up a voice memo, and hit play. Serena's voice, mine, soft and unwavering. "I'll always stand by you." He turned to the room. She loved me. Everything she gave was out of love. Marcus stood up. "No, you manipulated her loyalty. That's not love. That's leverage." And then Maya Reyes, silent until now, rose from the corner table. "I have the original agreement," she said, lifting a printed contract. The version with Serena's signature. Before her name was removed by Marlin. Ronald sat stone-faced. Marlene's voice cracked as she whispered to Celine, "We misjudged her." Suddenly, the screen lit up again. A video call rang in. Serena's European partner. Live. Broadcast. Impossible to deny. "We invested in luxury lifestyle," he said, because Serena Vale's vision was revolutionary. Marlin's branding? Cosmetic. A silence, more suffocating than any scream, settled over the room. Ada slid a thick envelope across the table. "These are the formal papers," she said, voice even. "Serena's full withdrawal of joint assets." Marlon tried to speak. No one looked his way. This wasn't revenge. It was restitution. I rose. The valet was already waiting downstairs. My car, sleek, black, purchased months ago, pulled up before he even left the table. As I stepped in, a flicker in the corner caught my eye. Harper, Marlon's cousin. Phone held high. Recording. Her caption hit social media before I even merged onto the highway. The birthday breakdown, when the wife was the empire all along. He brought a smile to a gunfight. The video spread faster than I anticipated. At first, I thought maybe no one would care. Another viral moment. Another dinner table gone wrong. But by the end of day 3, it had amassed over 7 million views. The birthday breakdown trended on Twitter. TikTok edits turned my silence into a war cry. I turned my phone off. For days I didn't engage. No statements. No clarifications. Let the world chew on what it saw. The reactions split like glass. Some called me brave. Others called me cruel. The loudest voice came from a local columnist who decided I must be dangerous. The headline, "Wife or Wolf in Kashmir." I read it once, then fed it to the shredder. When they can't discredit your work, I whispered into the stillness of my kitchen, they'll attack your story. Maya confirmed the leak came from Harper. I told her not to bother confronting her. People like Harper aren't loyal to anyone. They're loyal to spectacle. I watched comment sections bloom into battlegrounds. Strangers dissecting my marriage, my tone, my net worth. One woman wrote, "This is why successful women stay quiet." Another replied, "Or maybe this is why we shouldn't." It was never just about me. I saw that now. 10 days after the rooftop dinner, Marlon filed a motion. He wanted compensation, property division, public pity. His legal team claimed emotional distress and loss of reputation. Ada's counter was as swift as it was devastating. Documents proving I owned every major asset prior to our marriage. Every business, every share, every investment. The courtroom felt colder than the January wind. I wore navy, hair back, no jewelry. Marlon arrived with a new lawyer and the same old smirk. He tried to paint me as vindictive, manipulative, vengeful. He read old texts, highlighted sentimental lines, showed emails where I said I believed in his dream. The judge interrupted. "This court is here to determine asset ownership, not interpret nostalgia." Ronald and Marlene sat 2 rows behind. They didn't speak, didn't make eye contact. Celine wasn't there at all. The ruling was swift. The petition dismissed. Ada asked if I wanted to file for defamation. I declined. It wasn't about winning anymore. It was about being free. A week later, I stood behind a red-lit stage, TEDx Charleston stitched onto the backdrop. The talk was titled, "Choosing Light in a World Built on Shadows." I spoke of things I hadn't told anyone. Not about Marlon. About me. I told them how, at 24, I slept in my car for 3 nights when the first app one designed wouldn't secure funding. How I showered at a gym, pitched at coffee shops, and lied about my address just to be taken seriously. They buried us, I said, but didn't know we were seeds. I paused. Let the silence breathe. Being underestimated is the ultimate disguise, I continued. It teaches you how to build in the dark. When I walked off stage, the applause didn't feel like a victory. It felt like release. 2 days later, Marlon emailed me. Just one line. "I miss the version of you who believed in me." I didn't reply. Celine sent a birthday text. Dry. Formal. The kind you send when your conscience still thinks it's noble. Ronald and Marlene sent flowers and a note. We were wrong. Too late. I had them delivered to a hospice across town. I don't keep souvenirs from people who only show up after the truth is undeniable. My company received an acquisition offer the next morning. I said no. I wasn't done building yet. That evening, I sat on my balcony, barefoot, wine in hand. The Charleston skyline blinked back at me. I didn't feel triumphant. Just still. Just whole. This wasn't a war I won. It was a truth I returned to. I didn't burn the bridge. I just stopped lighting the path for them.